Hi there. So this is a little short video for those of you who are in a woman's body who would like to orgasm more often. And maybe also it will be useful for some of you, men, women, or anything in between, that wants to help a woman to come more often. This is a huge subject and it's really close to my heart because statistics show that only around half of women orgasm from penetration alone. And I really feel that it can be so much more than that. I really like to imagine that all of us can. And there are so many different reasons why half of us are sometimes or even never orgasming from penetrative sex. So if you would like to learn about how to orgasm or orgasm more often during sex, then stick around. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to do that. So number 1 is setting and safety. So how we are feeling as we enter the sexy, juicy time is completely affects our ability to relax and open into the experience. So we're not just ready in the way that a man may be. Any factor that is distracting us from being totally in the moment is going to upset our experience. So for example, if we're hungry, if we're cold, if we're worried about disturbing the kids next door or the neighbors behind the wall, and any factor in the setting around you or within yourself, within your body, if there's any discomfort that's not part of the adding to the kinkiness of the experience, is going to detract from your ability to really relax and open into the pleasure. So along with that is safety. So of course, if you're not feeling safe with your partner, what happens when we're not feeling safe, right? The body clenches, the body tightens. And how can we really relax into the pleasure and that blissful flow when we're contracted, right? So setting and safety, what's going on around us, what's going on within us, and how we feel with our partner is absolutely going to affect our ability to orgasm and our ability to receive pleasure. So number 2, get to know your body. So many of us put the responsibility for our pleasure on our partner or on the other. How can we expect them to give us pleasure if we don't know how to give ourselves pleasure? So practice, play, explore. Yeah, be intimate with yourself and notice what comes up. Maybe there'll be beliefs coming up. We're going to talk about beliefs in a little bit. Get to know, give yourself the time to really get to know what your body likes, not what your mind thinks that you like, not what your mind thinks that you should like because of what you've seen on porn or what you've seen in the movies. Tune into your body. What does she like? What does she need? What brings her the pleasure? And this isn't something that boom, we just learn it and there it's done. It's everyday learning, because every day our body is different. So it's like that moment to moment, bringing presence, really tuning into what is she needing. And maybe in one moment it's very soft and gentle. Maybe in one moment it's fiery and hot and passionate. But let your body lead and you follow. You really tune into her and get connected to what she is saying that she wants. Okay? So then, number 3. this is a practice called de-armoring the yoni. Yoni is the vagina, is our cosmic gateway to heaven, to paradise. De-armoring the yoni. This is a very specific technique, and maybe I will make another video about it, so in much more detail. So if you want to find out more, then subscribe, stay tuned, and that will probably be coming soon. This is when we use a specific technique to press in certain spots inside the vagina, and a lot is held. A lot of tension, a lot of wounding, a lot of trauma, a lot of shit that's happened to us is held inside the yoni, as it is in our whole body. Like there's a whole process of de-armoring the whole body. I'll give you a little snapshot of it. If you're scared right now, imagine that you're scared. And what happens? My shoulders go up, my hair is all tense, my neck's tense, like the back of the scalp is pulling back, I'm holding the breath. And many of us are living in a state of continuous stress. Stress. So coming back to number one, setting and security and safety. If we're stressed, big downer, right? Coming back to that. So stress, if we're stressed, if we're contracted, the body's tense, we've got all these to-dos, we've got all this stuff weighing on our shoulders, the weight of the world, all the, on our shoulders. All this creates tension. And over time, tension becomes a habitual pattern of how we hold our bodies, and that affects our whole posture, and that even affects how we feel within our bodies, and over time how we feel about ourselves, and what we're open to receiving in life, or what we're closed off from. Right? So by a process of de-armoring, we're literally opening up the body to new aliveness, to freshness, to pleasure, to opening to receive life, and opening to give of ourselves, of our life. And it becomes this beautiful flow, open to allow in and to give out. And so if you imagine all of that in the yoni, inside the vagina, like if we've been tense, we've had wounding, we've had trauma, whether that's like abusive, or even whether that is just one time that one partner was too strong or entered us before we were ready, or that we allowed something to happen that was painful or that wasn't right for us at the time. Coming back to get to know your body, and any time that we're really, something's happening to us that isn't fully a full yes, that is causing a level of contraction, of wounding, and on a more extreme level, trauma. And this is held inside the walls, as tension inside the walls of the yoni. And so this can cause numbness, it can cause pain, it can then cause, when we touch those spaces, we feel numbness, or we feel pain, or we feel very strong emotions coming. And this is the stuff that has been held there. And when anything is held there, we're not fully open to the capacity of pleasure. That is our birthright, that as it would have been if we had grown up untainted by the pains of life, right? So through this process of de-armoring the yoni, we can really open up to, through going through this process, it frees the baggage, the stuff that's held, and therefore we can naturally just receive that much more pleasure, that much more sensitivity. Yeah? So if you want to know more about this, I offer a practice of this that's guided in my program, Awaken Your Sexual Medicine. I'll talk more about that at the end. So then, number 4, belief systems. What do you believe about how you should be sexually? What do you believe about sex? What do you believe about your body, about your sexuality? Now, so many of us have conditionings that were imprinted in childhood. On one extreme, the very repressive church conditioning that you should only have sex after marriage and you should be pure and you shouldn't masturbate, and this very disconnected from the body view of sex. And we have on the other extreme porn that also gives us a terrible role model of what sex can be. It totally is very physical, but very much disconnects really from the connection, from the intimacy, from the being tuned in to the body and what the body's needing, and this more feminine way of what the body's needing as well. Porn is very the masculine, goal-orientated vision of sex. And so many of us grow up with these belief systems that we are wrong, we should have shame. We have shame around our bodies, we have shame around having desire, a woman having desire and being sexual and standing in that and owning in that. There's a lot of fear around that. We've not so long ago in the history of humanity, really a few generations ago, had the witch hunts. So women that are really in their power have been killed, and this has been passed on generationally through us and through our belief systems and how we can be. So take a good look at what do you believe around sex, about what you should do in sex. Is the way that you are during sex, is that fully connected to your body, in your body, letting your body guide? Or is it thinking, I should do this to please my partner, or I should do that, or I've seen that I should do it like this, and so I'm going to move in that way? And all of those shoulds and those belief systems around our body, who we should be, what we should look like, all of this takes us away from being really tuned into our body, and that is where the pleasure happens. Yeah. So number 5, talking about pleasure. If you're struggling to orgasm, coming back to orgasm, often we get caught in the striving for orgasm, which is again a very patriarchal, masculine, goal-driven way of seeing sex. I'm trying to get to the orgasm, the pleasure is then, the goal is then, and then it will be amazing. And this striving to get to takes us away from what is now. What is now? So I invite you in this moment, is there any pleasure that you can find in this moment? Like right now, I'm feeling the breeze here coming across my skin. I can breathe the air. I can see the flowers. I can see a ladybird here. This connection to present moment. And there is so much pleasure available in so many moments, even all moments, if we're really enlightened enough. But that's a long way off. I'm not going to give you that goal just yet. But even, during sex, there is so much pleasure in different touch, in each moment. And when we're trying to get to somewhere, we're closed off from the pleasure that is available now. So, I invite you, having shared all of this, number 1, setting, safety. What can you do to feel a little bit more free of stress, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more safe, that the setting is conducive to a delicious experience? Number 2, what can you do between times of having sex with a partner to really get to know your own body a little bit more? Number 3 is a practice to DEARMOUR your YONI. This is taking time out again to practice this in your own time. Number 4, look at your belief systems. Where is your mind holding yourself back from fully opening up into the pleasure of the moment? Number 5, let go of the striving for orgasm and open to receive the pleasure that is here in each moment. And if you want any support, any guidance, any guided practices to help to explore all of these and much, much more, I'm currently offering a deep dive 4-5 month long online program called Awaken Your Sexual Medicine, and this will give many practices to really help you to find your pleasure, your connection to yourself, free yourself of these limiting thought patterns, restrictions, constrictions, anything that's keeping you contracted and held, and open up into the joy, the liberation, the pleasure, the intimacy, the depths that can come of truly nourishing sexuality and sex, and even just it's specifically focused to you in yourself. So it doesn't need a partner. It's all about finding your own pleasure, your own connection to your body, yourself, your spirit, your energy, your love. So there's a link in the comments. Feel free to reach out. If you like this video and got something from it, then please subscribe, and I will be uploading more in time. All the best. Enjoy your explorations.